So, good day and Happy New Year, everyone. It is 2026, and this is the first Mindful Monday. So honored all of you could join us, and those of you watching the recording, also honored that you are joining us in a different time, but still with us in this togetherness. So, I've been thinking a lot about intentions and the way that New Year's often invite this sense of recalibrating and refocusing on what are the priorities. What is, you know, what new habits want to be adopted, what strengths and focuses want to be recommitted to, and we often do it from a personal lens. So I wanted to bring in an eco-psychology lens. And you could also say that this is a very earth-based way of listening. It comes from many, many traditions. It's not exclusive to eco-psychology. I would say that a great many traditions use this lens of understanding world that we're going to be working with today. And the lens is, what if you are part of a larger, animate, breathing, intelligent ecosystem that is all interconnected? Let's assume that that's the basis of where we're starting today. And let's assume that this larger breathing world also has hopes and intentions for you, for itself, for all of the myriad creatures, for the ways in which we come together, and for our future actions. And that by, in a way, decentering the role of the individual, and instead, we're just going to shift that center or that focus to a larger collective intelligence, right? You could say that that ecosystems are collectively intelligent in the way in which they are interacting. There are many complex life forms, right? Plants, insects, animals, birds, that are all existing in this very complicated and interwoven ecosystem. And that the ecosystem itself has an intelligence of what happens seasonally, of what happens in yearly cycles, of what happens in response. Um, and somehow, many of us have gotten the idea that we are outside of that, that we are somehow disrelated or outside of that traditional ecosystem and that larger intelligence. So where we'll be heading today is into that awareness that we are in fact part of. We are never removed from any part of this breathing planet, this whole large planetary ecosystem, and that our work on climate is part of that as well. So, shifting the nexus of understanding. And so today's work will be listening as opposed to imposing, right? So sometimes our cognitive thinking mind thinks, well, I should do this and I should do that, and this is my game plan, and I'm going to structure it like this, right? And that's very coming from the cognitive mind. So today, just for a widened experience of awareness and coming from a mindfulness tradition, we'll be decentralizing the role of the cognitive mind and centering the body and its larger participation in in this ecosystem awareness and centering it into this larger field to just see what arrives. And so I want to empower you to let yourself be surprised by what might arrive. And to know that your distinct imagination may be a part of that, right? And the ways that you're receiving information might be different. So, with that, go ahead and center yourself in the body. You're welcome to turn off your camera if you'd like. You're welcome to leave it on if you'd like. And we're going to begin to really deepen into the intelligence of your breathing body. Begin by noticing the rise of the in-breath. And notice the softening of the out-breath. Imagining now the breath is a gentle wind. And the large thoughts are fallen leaves. And that as you continue to breathe, the exhale is just slowly blowing those fallen leaves off of the field of mind, allowing there to be a clear expanse. Allowing the physical body to soften its tensions. And also, like leaves falling from a tree, the tension of the body is slowly falling away. And if any gentle movement helps that stressing, that tension falling off of the body, feel free to move gently as needed. And imagining yourself as both rooted and rising, following the same tree image, feeling the ground under you. And as if you had roots growing out of your feet or growing out of whatever part of you might be touching the ground under you. Letting your consciousness travel deep down into that grounding earth. Simultaneously feeling the spine stretching upward, rising, growing and lengthening, allowing you to be more spacious, allowing more space for breath. Imagine now that your consciousness might travel down that central channel, all the way down into those roots, which are often unseen by human eyes, the underground, the below ground. Feeling your roots spread out, encounter other roots, other hair-like roots of mushrooms called mycelium, stones, bones, microorganisms, earthworms, the vast underground world. And feeling yourself a part of that very alive underground world. And so holding that vast complexity of awareness that's happening underground and following the trunk of the tree of your own spine, your own seated body, up again, and beginning to notice the unseen air all around you. Air which is the source of our life. We are absolutely dependent on fresh air to breathe. And yet it is invisible to the eye, traditionally. And feeling how we take in this unseen medium that we're all breathing, take it into our body, transform it in its gases, and send it out again. So the out breath of trees is your own in breath. The in breath of trees is your out breath. And feeling this complex participation in the multiple beings that are all around where you are seated now. There may be birds, animals, insects, humans, plants, growing green, uh, all different kinds of organisms that are all respirating, breathing this same air, this same one breath that we're shared across the planet. And that you are always a part of this breathing, animate ecosystem. And there are many unseen layers of awareness that are part of this large, complex, intelligent, interconnected ecosystem and planet. In just a moment, we are going to go out, or as I said, go as close as you can to the more than human world. And depending on where you are in the world, that might even just be a view of sky or a view of any more than human life forms outside your window. I'm going to take this consciousness and ask two questions. Staying with this breathing awareness, you might ask the land itself, what does the land want from me? If it had intentions or desires for me, what would they be? And then going from your immediate sense of place and land, second question is, what does this breathing planet, if it had particular intentions or hopes that it would like from me and my unique skills, my unique being in this world, what would they be? So this will be a listening exercise, less than a mentally formed exercise. Please let yourself be surprised by what might arise. And if you feel like you get lost or nothing is arriving, let yourself sit in that deep kind of winter consciousness and give yourself some spaciousness and stay with the breathing, mindful awareness. So please now, those two questions. What does this land want from me? What does this earth want from me? If it had intentions for this new year. Let's go ahead and take yourself out. Let's spend the next 15 minutes in your outside exploration. So we'll come back at 35 minutes after the top of the hour. And then we'll be doing a writing. So having some time to write down those prompts. If where you are headed takes you longer, you're welcome to take 20 minutes and incorporate your writing into your process and then reconvene with us at 40 minutes after the top of the hour. So please now be empowered to take this very conscious, mindful state out into the larger breathing world. Ask those two questions and see what arrives in your listening. So if you have returned back from your walk or your time out in the breathing world, we'll take the next 5 minutes to write your responses, to write what has arrived. Or if you're still out in your walk, taking the next 5 minutes to listen, to be informed, and to write or capture your responses. We'll come back in 5 minutes. So taking a few more moments to finish up your journaling. If you're watching this recording, feel free to take as long as you need and pause the recording. Also to say, if you're watching this recording and you'd like to share what arrived, you're welcome to use our Slack channel, RD Climate Mindfulness Slack channel as a place to share what arrived with our larger community if you're not here in person. And so just finishing that up, and I'll be ending the recording here in just a moment. So thank you so much. If you are watching this recording, I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you can join us in person every first Monday of the month at 9 a.m. Pacific time.